What's the craziest crime you or somebody in your family has committed?
My father committed one of the first computer crimes in the 90s. A ton of files were corrupted due to a code he created because they fired him. FBI invaded our home and arrested him. Was sent to federal prison for 4 years, which was interesting because there was never a crime committed of its nature before. They made a forensics file episode about it. Edit, if anyone is curious, the company was Omega.
Twin brothers boosted a car and robbed the 711 like half a mile from house. Ditched car 10 houses from theirs. How were they caught? Officers respond to alarm triggered by Clerk. Officer, got an alarm here, what happened? Clerk, Tim and Tom came in and robbed the store. Officer, how do you know it was these guys? Clerk, they are 6 feet 4 inches twins who come in every day. I know their shape and voice. The car 911 operator, 911, what is your emergency? Neighbor, was watching TV and 2 guys park a car in front of my house. One guy got out with like a Windex bottle and cleaned all the door handles and door areas. Then opened door and the other guy took the stuff and cleaned the inside areas. Then they ran off up the street. Dispatch, can you describe the 2 individuals? Neighbor, well, it was Tim and Tom, the twins that live up the street from me. They're like 6 feet 4 inches, and they are twins.
My cousin's husband got caught on a predator chaser's livestream trying to kidnap a 14-year-old boy.
My brother got completely inebriated one night and stupidly drove home. He woke up early in the morning to the sound of a baby crying. He looked around and noticed he didn't recognize the house. He quickly got up and walked outside to his car halfway in the driveway/street and still running. Got in his car and drove away as quickly as he could. Turns out it was some random house about 5 to 10 minutes away from our actual house. He never knew whose house it was and never got caught. He also slowed down his drinking after that.
My father, when I was still very young, used a fake name and pretended to be a wedding planner for a young couple. That young couple hired him, since he seemed trustworthy and is an excellent liar, giving him access to their savings for wedding supplies and such that would be needed. Instead, he stole all of the money out of their account and then ran away with it. As far as I am aware, he was never caught and the money was never returned to them. The worst part is that the poor couple never even got their wedding and had almost nothing left afterwards.
In college we got a new printer and printed off a bunch of fairly convincing $20 bills, roughed them up and used them at a bunch of fast food restaurants. Didn't realize how dumb it was until years later.
My wife's cousin was arrested for the manufacturing of meth 3 times and was sentenced to life. He, his mom and dad all cooked meth and supplied basically the entire area. The worst part is that during his last arrest he was taking the fall for his parents. They were in large part why our small sleazy little trash heap of a town was one of the top 5 for meth in the United States at the time.
So my great aunt disappeared off the face of the earth after her daughter's wedding and nobody had any clue what happened. Foul play wasn't suspected or anything, however her shotgun was missing. Well, like a month ago we found out she died last year. She had apparently skipped jury duty to go to the wedding, and instead of doing anything logical she straight up ran away, and lived in hiding in a backwoods town in Washington. No letters or anything, she just decided that the most effective way to get around jury duty to go to a wedding was to live in hiding for 30 years. Edit, grammatical errors.
My uncle stole one of those oil candles from our table at a Hard Rock cafe once. When we got outside he pulled it from his jacket with it still lit.
My sister shoplifts uncontrollably. She shoplifts everything everywhere she goes. Her daughter just turned 1 and she has stolen every bit of formula her daughter ever used. It's insane, she's never been caught.
My grandpa wouldn't obey the train warnings. He would try and beat the train rather than wait. First time he got hit in his new convertible on the way to prom with my grandma. Had barely started on the payments and car was totaled. Luckily they were both okay. Second time was a little less reckless but still dumb. He was driving a semi and it broke down on the tracks. He kept trying to get the tractor trailer to start, rather than lose his rig and load. Semi got hit by the train, total loss and fucked up his back.
My dad's cousin erased all family member names from a property deed except for his father's. The paperwork had been water damaged, so there was no easy way to tell what should have been there. Family lore says that he also paid off some local politicians/office workers to make the new deed stand.
My friend got blackout drunk and stole a bulldozer that had the keys left in it. He turned it on and obviously didn't know how to drive it, so he just ended up making the scoopy part go up and down for a bit before the cops came. They actually let him go too.
A distant cousin got her terminally ill father to give her power of attorney, and then stole all of his money, so she wouldn't have to split it with her brother. Edit. Don't worry, she did go to jail as her rush to clean him out involved a lot of fraud and forgery. Edit too, man, it is slightly depressing how many of you have similar stories. What's up with people?
He's dead now. But years ago my relative got in a bar fight and lost, so he went to his vehicle to get his rifle. Fortunately the police arrested him on the way into the bar, so his charges were a lot less. Still did jail time.
My uncle sold Tim Allen the cocaine that got him sent to prison in the late 70s.
I used to drive for my weed dealer. I was a new buyer, but I never asked questions and was cool with him. His car broke down and asked if anyone could drive him. I said I would, and he liked that. I have my back windows tinted but not my front windows. I'd pick him up and we'd drive almost all day. It was pretty chill. He's give me free weed and pay me $250 a day. I still worked my part-time delivery job, so I was very happy. He got his car fixed and didn't need me to drive him around anymore. Which is fine, considering his ex snitched on him and he got busted a couple weeks later.
Cousin was taking care of a woman in coma. He raped her. Little he knew was that her parents had set a webcam to check regularly if she would wake up. He deserved every single day he spends in prison.
My grandfather's cousin stabbed a waiter to death because he wouldn't let him use the employees-only restroom in his restaurant.
My husband's dad killed the guy who his then girlfriend was cheating on him with. He was supposed to serve a life term, but got out because of a clerical error. He did manual labor on a local park, and apparently the guys who helped were supposed to get a reduced sentence. However, he was not supposed to. I think my husband talked about it once. Also, my husband's half-brother, same murderous dad, killed his business partner. He would have gotten away with it, however, he moved the body when he found out construction was going to start in that spot. And what were they going to build there? A prison. He's currently serving a life sentence. My husband has never met his half-brother. He also has two half-sisters from the same dad who are law-abiding citizens.
I worked at a movie theater when Back to the Future was originally released. We used to take the entire movie ticket instead of tearing them and resell them to the next group coming in. The old theater was massive. Sat 600 people. We probably made about $15,000 between two of us a month or so. Adjusted for inflation, it's about $37,000. We were the richest high school kids in our town.
My dad got into a bar fight around 21 or so, hit a guy so hard he killed him. He went to prison, of course, but while working along the road he stopped another prisoner that attacked a guard and tried to escape. My dad was released for that. He never drank after that, and if he got angry, he just walked out of the house to cool off. He turned 81 a week ago, and he's the nicest, easiest going guy you would ever meet. He never judges anyone. He once said to me, "We all make mistakes." For the record, I only heard the story about 10 years ago from my brother. He told him during a road trip. He lived in a small town, and I have no idea what prison he was at or the official reason he was released, but considering it was probably around 61/62, they probably used whatever reason they wanted to for his release. Edit. Thanks for the award, wasn't necessary but thanks.
This was a couple of generations back, early 20th century, but there was this guy who was constantly getting drunk and harassing my great aunt. So one of her male friends dressed up in an Easter bunny outfit, put a bat in its giant fake carrot and beat the dude with it. He got away with it, but I'm sure it helped that half the community was waiting for the day the guy's liver finally gave out. Edit. Okay, one small clarification: the bat in question was a baseball bat, not the flying mammal, though that's certainly an interesting visual, and I can't say I'm sorry for my small role in creating that image.
Cousin got busted robbing a bank. Got sentenced to jail. Proceeded to break out of jail with his cellmate and went on the run. Fast forward a few months and he's living in a hotel room with his cellmate. Cellmate orders a pizza to the room, bad idea. Delivery guy recognized them and reported them to the police. They get arrested again, and shortly after my cousin killed himself in prison. My cousin had a wife and a kid and got into a nasty coke habit. We don't bring him up anymore.
My dad told me he once snuck into a tire warehouse. He cut the alarm and came in through a window on the roof and stole a bunch of tires.
An uncle robbed a bank, or was an accessory to the robbers, IDK. His brilliant escape when the police showed up was to go to the roof and jump off. He didn't do time, just had to go to the hospital for a broken leg. I'll have to ask my mom when I get a chance, she knows the story better than I do.
Not sure if it should be considered a crime, but one of my great aunts was in an abusive marriage with a war vet who took to beating her and forcing her to play Russian roulette when he drank. One night she managed to rig the gun so when he took his turn he blew his brains out. She wasn't charged.
My uncle went to prison for chaining a cop to the back of his bike and driving down the highway. Edit. I feel like an edit is needed here, because I want to say I am not glorifying what my uncle did, I simply answered the question asked. This happened in the 1960s before I was born, so I do not have many details due to the timing. In fact, he married into the family, and that side of my family is not very close at all. What I do know is my uncle was a part of a very violent gang. I know nothing about what led to the attempted murder. Yes, the cop survived somehow, so I do not know if the cop was good or bad. But, I do not believe very many people, if any, deserve to be tortured in such a manner, or any manner.
My dad's side of the family grew up as New Hampshire hicks. My grandfather was stabbed in 2 different bar fights and burned down an entire country club because he thought they were too stuck up. He was never caught and went on to earn a Bronze and Silver Star in the Korean War, but unfortunately lost his leg too. Edit. Since this is getting some attention, I thought I might add that my grandfather got his shit together, started a successful small business, and as a funny twist later joined that same country club as an old man. He never really felt welcome there. My dad said though, they weren't really his kind of people.
My cousin in Youngstown, used to rob people selling goods on Facebook. Got caught after him, an accomplice murdered a man over a PS3. Good times. Edit. I added a comment, but I figured this would get the fastest response to everyone. I am linking the actual article for everything. I was off about some of the details. The victim was selling a computer and PlayStation to take care of his son. There were 2 involved. My cousin actually pulled trigger, had an accomplice driver. Most of my family is like this man, but I find it hard to call someone capable of such cruelty a man. Thank you all for the comments and have a good Christmas. https://www.wfmj.com/story/3529403/Youngstown-man-sentenced-for-murdering-victim-found-on-Craigslist